Dwight Howard might not be nearly the player he once was, but nowadays he's still a very viable option for a lot of NBA teams. Thinking back to the beginning of Howard's career really puts his strengths as a player into perspective. He was initially drafted by the Orlando Magic with the number 1 overall pick in the 2004 draft. Straight out of the gates, he proved he was worthy of that selection. Howard made it onto the All-Rookie NBA team by averaging 12 points and 10 rebounds a game. Don't worry, he didn't peak just there either. He followed that stellar rookie season up with a 15.8 point, 12.5 rebound per game sophomore season. At this point, everybody was quickly starting to get familiar with the name Dwight Howard, and his potential was just completely off the charts. Moving into his 3rd season in the league, he increased his numbers once again. This time, he jumped up to 17.6 points and 12.3 rebounds a game. This was enough to get him selected to the All-Star team that season due to his play on the court. We should also point out that this was the start of an 8-straight season run of All-Star appearances. He picked up new career averages throughout that span and held a number of unbelievable stats that don't even seem real. To start, he averaged 22.9 points per game throughout the 2010 season and 14.5 rebounds per game during the 2011 season. And speaking of rebounding, Howard led the league in 6 out of 7 seasons from the span 2005 to 2011. You don't grab rebounds like this that consistently unless you're truly a generational kind of talent that nobody can guard down low. His rebounding and focus in the paint helped him grow on the defensive end too. Howard actually led the league in blocks twice throughout his career so far and even picked up a Defensive Player of the Year award in 3 straight seasons. Dwight also became the Magic's all-time leading scorer despite never really being thought of as an offensive-minded big man. Howard's impact on a team's success also attributed to how great of a player he's been out on the court. Obviously, you don't want to be picking up these accolades and on-court successes without some kind of team momentum following close behind. The Magic had a high of 59 wins during the 2008 season and even made it all the way to the NBA Finals that year. However, they did lose to Los Angeles in 5 games due to just being outmatched. They actually won 59 games again the year after, but lost in the Eastern Conference Finals this time around. In total, though, the Magic were able to win 52 or more games in 4 straight seasons with Dwight leading the way for them. He didn't just have a positive impact with the Magic either, though. He also had a great impact on the national team in the Olympics. Howard participated in the USA Basketball men's senior national team for 2 years, acting as their starting center. The team ended up going 5-0 during the pre-World Championship tour, but eventually settled with a bronze medal in the FIBA World Championship. The year after, Howard maintained his starting spot and helped them win their first 9 games in the tournament. They were able to make it into the finals that time around, and when they got there, Howard shot 7 for 7 from the floor and helped them walk away with a gold medal by defeating Argentina. Then finally in 2008, Howard was representing Team USA once again. He helped them win all their games and wound up winning another gold medal. Throughout that tournament, he averaged 10.9 points and 5.8 rebounds a night. That might not sound like a lot, but you gotta consider the amount of talent on this roster along with the physical style of international defense. Now, I don't know about you, but dominating this much and contributing to the success of a national team is a pretty great way of signaling just how great of a player he was. Let's take a minute now and pause the video for just a second. If you're liking the content so far, be sure to smash that subscribe button down below so that you never miss any more of our content. Anyways, let's get right back into the action. Bottom line, Howard was definitely considered the best big man the NBA had to offer right after he was drafted. I mean, a guy who can outjump anybody else on the floor, match up against pretty much anybody else on the other team, and have explosiveness like no other should pretty much always take that title. He also created such a big name for himself despite not ever really having that go-to move down in the paint. On top of that, Dwight never really came around to developing a strong three-point shot, meaning that opposing teams always knew he was going to be coming into the paint, yet nobody could slow him down in there. He blocked seemingly everything that came his way at the rim, and he had a personality that was just unmatched. He was a guy who everybody wanted to play with and play for. It may not sound like a big deal, but having your teammates really buy into how good you are as a person and a player really does help your team out a lot. We should point out that there were some issues regarding him wanting a trade from the Magic back then. Apparently, he wasn't happy with the organization and felt that they kind of failed to build a championship-level roster around him. Throughout it all, though, he remained positive and lively. Heck, he even retracted his trade request after sitting down and working out all those issues with their management. That really sets an example for the rest of the guys on the team and really does prove that they have confidence in a leader who won't hold back. Now, before we talk briefly about Howard's current state in the NBA, we want to talk further about how dominant he was back in the day with some stat lines. This first one comes back in 2012 against the Golden State Warriors. Dwight played a total of 44 minutes that game and dropped 45 points. He also added on 23 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks for good measure. His field goal percentage in that game was over 57%, and the Magic won that game handily. That's just a stat line you don't really see from every big man in the league. To score more points than minutes played and contribute that heavily on the glass, and also in the defensive area, really just shows his talent level. But we got to talk about another performance to really drive it all home. This one came back in 2018 with the Charlotte Hornets, about the time when his minutes started to decline in the league. Howard dropped 32 points in 34 minutes and picked up an assist along the way. What's the big deal about that, you might ask? Well, that's not the important part just yet. The big factor in this game was that he grabbed a career-high 30 rebounds that night. His next closest didn't even come within a few boards either. That was a 2016 showing with the Rockets when he snagged 26. Now, since Dwight and the Magic parted ways all those years ago, his career has gone a different direction. Numbers have gone down as well as his athleticism over the years. However, he's still a worthy player to have. Granted, Howard hasn't made an All-Star team since 2013, he hasn't led the league in rebounds since that 2011 season, and of course he's only averaged over 16 points a game just once in the NBA since 2014. But even though he's not really the player he once was, it does not take away from how effective he was back then and how much value he can still have today. With that, we officially wrap up our video on the reasons why Dwight Howard was so unbelievably good during the prime of his career. What do you guys think? Was Howard really a generational type basketball player? Let us know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Also, make sure to click on the video that shows up on your screen right now to keep watching more of our stuff.